to aplusstudents.com. You need to go to the website. Once you're on the website, you need to select math as your subject. This is a grade 6 maths lesson, and the topic for today is two-dimensional figures. And the chapter number is, let me give you the chapter number and the lesson number. The chapter number is 30 and the lesson number is 14. Chapter number 30 and the lesson number for today is number 14. And the name of the lesson is Transversal of Parallel Lines. Parallel lines. So let's go to grade 6, chapter 13. Hi, peace. Welcome to the class. So the first question that we have is, let me copy the question and then we'll see what are the possibilities, okay? So we are given we are given a diagram. Hi, Brightly. Hi, everyone. So for this first question, we are given these four. Let me resize them. And they are asking us, in this particular question, which angles are adjacent to each other. Okay. In case of adjacent angles, we know that the adjacent angles would always be next to each other, right? So we have two parallel lines. The parallel lines are always highlighted with arrows, right? These are the two parallel lines which are not intersecting each other. Hi, Crinsley. Hi, Peace. Hi, Bradley. Okay, we have a pair of parallel lines and we need to find which two angles are adjacent to each other, right? So let's make a copy of this so that we would use all four options to see which one is the correct, okay? If copy one and another copy of this. Okay, we'll do one by one so that we can find which are adjacent. Okay, so with the first option that we are being given is the angle IHJ. Where is angle I, H, and J? Agreed? This was J, H, and I. And G, H, J. Where is G, H, and J? Yeah. The first option is already the adjacent, right? This angle and this angle would be adjacent to each other. That's already the answer. But let's look at the other ones also. This is IHJ. Where is IHJ? This is this is IHJ and DEH. DEH is this angle. They are not adjacent to each other. Agreed? Adjacent angles would be next to each other. That means the first option is already correct for us. Right? This is a correct option. We are just verifying what is not correct. Why are they not correct? The next one is IHJ to GHE. GHE. No, they are still not the same, right? They are vertically opposite angles. This was vertically opposite. And the last option that we had was IHJ and DEC. They're adjacent angles. So they're alternate angles, right? Sorry. So this is still not the answer. So the answer for the first question would be, Ashik, the answer for the first question would be that the angle IHJ is adjacent to angle GHJ, right? Do we agree? Okay. For the next question, let's see. Okay. We need to find a pair of vertical angles. Let's look at another question. Which angles are vertical angles? For the next question, and the given diagram was this. This is our question number 2. Sorry. Let me make copies of this so that we can make changes in the copies and not the original question. Okay. So if we had the first copy, second, any questions up till now? See, what we are trying to do is we are trying to find which angles. In the previous question, we tried to find which angles are adjacent to each other. In question number 2, what we are trying to find is which angles are vertical angles. Okay, we're trying to find which angles are vertical angles. If we look at the first option given to us is X, W, and T, right? If X, W, and T is given to us, what can we say? Where is X? Let's move over here. This was X, W, and T. X, W, T is this angle if we considering the first option. Okay, I'm using the same color code. And what about the next angle? That is UTW. Where is U, T, and W? Okay, so they are not vertical angles, agreed? So the next one was XWT. Where is XWT? This angle. And VWT. Would these two angles be vertical angles or are they adjacent angles? These two angles are adjacent, right? They are not vertical angles. Agreed? Okay. Let's look at the third option. And the third option says, let's have a look. I'm trying to do the correct option. Okay. For the third option, it says we have the angles X, W, T, and VWY. VWY. Right? So these are vertical angles. And this angle and this angle is vertical angle. It is also known as vertically opposite angles. Okay, that's another name that can be used, vertically opposite angles. Therefore, the last option would also be incorrect. So option number 3, that is XWT and VWY are the correct answers. Okay, they are vertically opposite angles, or we can say they are vertical angles. Agreed? Let's move ahead to the next question. For the next question, it says, okay, we need to find alternate interior angles. Just a moment, please. Let me copy. Okay. Do we agree? Okay, thank you. For the next question, it says, find which angles are alternate and interior angles. Let's have a look. If we have all these angles given to us, let's see. Let's make a copy because we don't want to do the working on the question, right? Because if we do working for 4 questions on the diagram, then our diagram will have a lot of workings on it, right? Markings on it, and that would confuse us. Therefore, I prefer making 4 because I do not have an eraser. So for question number 3, what we need to do is we need to find alternate and interior angles. Let's see which angles would be alternate and interior. Okay, so the first pair of the angles, what is given to us? QPM. This is the first pair of angles that is given to us. Where is QPM? This is QPM and QPR. Would these two angles would be alternate interior? They're not, right? They are adjacent angles. For the next one would be, if we try Q, if we say we have the angle QPM and NMK. NMK. Are these alternate interior angles? This angle and this angle, they are alternate interior angle. That means the next two options would not be the alternate. Let's verify QPM and LMP. QPM, LMP. Okay. Let's see. What about this angle, which I marked in the green? Yes, they are also, right? Alternate interior angles. Agreed? And for the last option, can we say this? What is given? QMP and LMK. They are not. Agreed? So what we can see over here is that we have the alternate interior angles which we had to find, and the others are either corresponding or just simple angles referring to each other. Okay, let's move ahead. Let's have a look at another question. For the next question, it says, so the last question, it says, if these are the angles that have been given to us, which are vertical angles? We need to find out of these options which are vertical angles such that these options are given to us for question number. This is our question number 4. And we need to find which question, Ashik? Which question are you saying? Okay, just a moment, please. I'll do it again, okay, from the scratch. So in question number 4, what we need to find is, we need to find vertical angles, right? Let's make a copy of this and let's see which out of these 4 pairs would be vertical angles. Okay, this is the first copy we have. I'm just making 4 copies so that we can work on the copies and we do not have to work on the original, right? Okay, I made 4 copies over here. If we look at the first angle, see the first angle I'm marking with the red, we have the angles W, where is W? XU, W, X and U is this angle, right? And V, U, X, where is V? V, U, and X is this angle. Are these two angles vertical angles? They are not vertical angles, right? So we say they are not vertical. For the next option, let's have a look. For the next option, we had the angles W, X, U, W, X, U. This angle was given. and VXU. V, V, sorry, YXU. Are these two alternate angles? We saw that whenever two angles on a straight line, they were adjacent angles, right? Because this was correct for adjacent. So we can say these are adjacent and they are not vertical angles. For the option number 3, can we say X, W, XV? Where is W, XV? This angle. And W, XZ is this angle. Are these two angles vertical angles? For the option number 3, are these two angles? Okay. What we are looking at is different types of angles. We are looking at vertical angles, interior angles. Okay. So what we can say on the fourth option, step by step. See, in the fourth option, in the third option, we has WXU, that is this angle, and WXZ, this angle, right? They are not vertical angles to each other. They are lying on the same line. So they are adjacent angles. We have to find a pair of angles which are vertical. Let's look at the last option. In the last option, what we can say is WXU, this angle, and YXZ, YXZ. I just told you in the previous question, whenever formation of X is there, and we have these two angles given to us, these are either called vertical angles, okay? And the other name for this angle would be, they can also be called vertically opposite angles. Whenever we have a formation of X, like two intersecting lines, and we know the angles that are alternate to each other, in front of each other, that means they are vertical angles. So what we can write over here is, this angle is vertical angle to this angle. Okay. Okay, I'll try to make it easier. Okay. With the next question, just a moment, please. Okay, 1 second. Okay, let's try with the next question, and I will try to explain from the scratch again. Okay. 1 minute. Let me copy. I'll just define you what the angles are. Okay. I'll give you some examples and we'll see what those angles are. Agreed? So that you would not be confused. So before doing this, I'll explain a few more. Okay. If I would say, if I have a pair of parallel lines, let's suppose if we have a pair of parallel lines and another line is intersecting the parallel lines diagonally. Agreed? So let's have a look. Parallel lines will also, okay. So in this case, if I say, I would want to see what are corresponding angles. Okay. So the angles formed on parallel lines, right? Let's take here. In this case, this angle is corresponding to this angle. These two angles are, sorry, just a minute. Let me make another copy so that I can reuse this. Okay. then this set of angles are corresponding angles to each other. Agreed? Let's have a look at another type of angle. Okay. If we had this angle with us, this angle with this, or this angle with this, these angles are known as vertical angles. Okay. Do we agree? Let's have a look at some other. If we have another pair of lines, see, in this particular case, if I said this angle was 100, then this angle was 100, right? Then if these lines were parallel, then this would be 100 or this would be 100. Any four of these could be equal. This angle will still be vertically opposite to this angle, right? Okay. And what else we can say? Do we agree till here? What we did was corresponding angles. We also have supplementary angle. Supplementary angle means the sum of the two angles, this angle plus this angle, right? These two angles are known as supplementary angles. We did supplementary and complementary previously, right? Okay. Another case is if we have another pair of lines, if we are given two angles over here, let's suppose those two angles are this, and this, right? Then these two angles would also be interior supplementary angles. And we know that the sum of supplementary, if this is x, this was y, then the sum of x plus y would be 180, right? Because they are supplementary angles. Agreed? Okay, let's have a look at another pair of angles. Let's try the questions and then we'll have a better idea, right? Or they are also known as same side interior angles. Okay, let's move ahead with the question. Let's have a look at the question. For the next question, it says, since we just saw what corresponding angles are, right? And they're asking us which angles are corresponding angles over here. So once we look at this, let's suppose this is question number 4. We need to find corresponding angles. Let's look at one of the options. If we have ONK, let's make a copy. I'm doing a copy because I do not have an eraser. Okay. Let's say for this case, sorry, let's just make 4 copies. Okay. Okay. The first angle ONK and JKI. Where is ONK? This is ONK and JKI. Are these two angles corresponding to each other? The corresponding angles would be something like this. When where two parallel lines are there and a line is intersecting the parallel line, then those two one interior and one exterior angle would be corresponding, right? That means this is not corresponding. Let's have a look at the second option. O and K. We have O and K and LKI. Are these two angles corresponding? Yes, they are corresponding angles. O and K, LKI. Do, do we agree on this? Do we agree? Do we agree that ONK and LKI are corresponding angles? Princely, do we agree? Peace? If we look at the remaining angles, we would see that those are not corresponding. Why? If we had ONK, ONK, and MNP, MNP, these two angles are not corresponding because they are vertically opposite angles, right? And for the first option, let's say if these two angles were given to us, ONK and LKN, LK, these are interior angles, right? But they are not corresponding. So we have only one pair of corresponding angles, that is this option, ONK and LKI. Okay, let's have a look at another question. Just a moment. For the next question, they are asking us which of the two pairs of angles are supplementary angles. Let's see. Question number 5. They're asking us which angles are supplementary angles. Okay, just a moment, please. Let me copy these 4 together. Okay. For this question, they're asking us, let this be question number 5. They're asking us which pair of angles are supplementary angles. Okay, we need to find supplementary. Let's see what supplementary exactly are. Okay, they would supplementary, we know that the addition of the angles would be 180 degrees, right? In supplementary, sum of the angles would be 180. Let's go through all options and let's see which better describes. The first one says WVS, WVS, this angle, and RSB, RSB. They're not supplementary, they're exactly the same. If this angle was x degrees, then this would be x degrees, right? They are same angles, so they cannot be supplementary. For the next option, it says WVS, WVS, and UVX, UVX, this angle. What are these two angles in the second option? What are these two options in the second? They're still not supplementary. They are vertical angles, right? And we do not need to find vertical angles. Let's look at another question that says WVS. Where is WVS and TVS? SQ. What about these two angles? These two angles were corresponding angles. Agreed? So they are still not supplementary. Let's look at the last option. In the last option, it says WVS and UWS. Would the sum of these two angles be 180? If they are saying this is the first angle given and this is the second angle given, these angles lie on a straight line, so the sum of these two angles would be 180. Therefore, no, these are not from the test. These questions are given with 4 options. Okay, so we are just trying to pick which option is the correct answer, right? So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to label all 4 of them, and let's see what are. Okay, okay, let's have a look at one more question. Okay, we know that about alternate interior angles. That, let me just copy the question. We have a pair of parallel lines given to us, and they are asking us to find alternate interior angles. Okay, let's do it on the next slide. Okay, over here. If a pair of parallel lines are given to us, these are the 4 options that have been given to us, and they are asking us to find which pairs are alternate to each other. Okay, just let's make 4 copies so that we can use them. And if this is the question that's given to us, this is our question number 6. Okay, so they are asking us to find alternate and interior angles. So those two angles of would have to be interior as well, right? They cannot be on the exterior side. So if we say that, let's check the first option we have. JIF, where is JIF? This is JIF, and HIK. HIK. These are vertical angles, right? That means they are vertically opposite angles, but they are not alternate interior angles. Agreed? Okay. Let's have a look for the next one. For the next question, it says JIF and HIF. If we say we have JIF, one angle, and HIF is this angle. We just did this kind of a question, and they're not right. They are supplementary, right? Okay. Let's have a look at the next one. For the third option, if we have these two angles with us, JIF, okay, and EFI, these are alternate interior angles. Agreed? So we can say this angle will be alternate, and alternate means on the other side, and an interior angle which is equal to the other side, right? And finally, the last will not be equal because we already found the answer, that is JIF and GFD. They are corresponding angles, right? So they are not alternate interior angles. So alternate interior angles in this case were JIF and EFI. Okay, what happened? I need to read. Let's try a few questions from the test because it's very minimal. Okay, let's see which options are correct. I'll let you people answer. It's saying if these are the four options given to us, I don't know. Let's see. If these are the four options given to us, A, B, C, and D, this is question number 1 from the test. And it says, okay, let's just pick which option is correct. Okay, these are the four options that we have. And this is the diagram that's been given to us. We need to find the vertical angles. For this particular question, what are the vertical angles? What are the vertical angles in this particular question? If I would say the options given were A, sorry, B, C, and D. Which two angles are? Which two angles are vertical angles to each other? Let's use different color codes. For these first two angles, X, W, T, and UTW. UTW, these two angles, or XWT, which goes with this angle. We know that the vertical angles are formed whenever we are forming an X, and these two angles would always be vertically opposite angles, right? So we can say option B was correct, right? In option number B, they are vertical angles to each other. Agreed? No, we are just doing some questions. Okay. Okay. Let's move ahead. For the next question, it says, if the pair of two parallel lines are given to us, which pair of lines would be alternate interior angles? Can I have the answer for question number 2? Would it be option A, option B, option C, or option D? What do we need to find? Alternate interior angles. If we look at the first option, that is QPM, QPM, and OPR. These are vertically opposite angles, so we cannot take them. The next option is QPM, NMK. They're alternate angles, but corresponding, right? They're not alternate interior. If I say QPM, and LMP. So whenever we have a formation of the alphabet Z, then these two angles would always be alternate interior angles. Agreed? So option C is the correct answer. Do we agree? Okay, moving ahead to the next question. If we are given a pair of parallel lines and we have to find the alternate interior angles. Very similar to question number 2. Okay. It's question number 3 is very similar to question number 2. Then what should be the answer? We need to remember whenever we are forming a Z, formation of Z, these two angles in the previous question were alternate interior angles, right? We again have to find alternate interior angles. Then which pair of angles would be alternate interior? If the options given are, this is option A, option B, option C, and option D. Okay, what we need to do is we need to look at different types of angles. Okay, when we are looking at alternate interior angles, I'll just redo this. Okay, if we have the angle JIF, JI and F, this angle, and HIK, whenever we have angles formed like this, these angles are not alternate interior angles. These angles are called vertical angles. So option A cannot be correct, right? Let's look at the second option, JIF, JIF, and HIF. Whenever we have two angles on a line and they sum up to 180, they are supplementary angles. So they are not alternate interior. Agreed? Let's have a look at JIF and EFI. Right? I just JIF EFI. Sorry, I did the wrong marking. This marking should be here. So in this case, what is happening if we have two pairs of parallel lines and this was given? We have this angle and we have this angle, right? Agreed? Because these two lines were parallel. So I just showed you over here in the previous question, if we have a pair of parallel lines and these angles are given to us, alternate to each other, because they are using the term alternate and interior also, because they both are on the inside. That means these two angles are alternate interior angles. JIF and EFI would be alternate interior angles. What you need to do is you just need to see what are vertical angles, what are supplementary, alternate interior, just these basic angles. Okay, go through the video again. In the beginning, we did discuss which angle is which, so you'll have a better idea. Okay, please do try to complete the remaining questions. And in this case, option C was the correct answer. In this case, also option C was the correct answer, right? Just go through the questions and you'll have a better idea. And thank you so much.